My wife swore her work friend was just a colleague, until I found their messages about sneaking kisses at the office. So I waited, gathered proof, and sent every screenshot to his wife, his boss, and HR. Now they're both jobless. And I'm free. I'm Edward, 32, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I study medicinal plants in places most people can't pronounce, remote mountain ranges, forgotten valleys where indigenous communities have been using botanical medicine for centuries. It's not glamorous work. I spend months cataloging leaf structures and alkaloid compounds while getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. But it's mine. My wife Stella makes perfume. Not the department store stuff. She's an accords composer at this boutique fragrance house where bottles cost more than my monthly research budget. She builds scents like I map genomes, layer by layer, note by note. We met 7 years ago at a botanical garden fundraiser. She was there hunting for rare flower specimens to extract. I was giving a presentation on Colombian orchids. She stayed after everyone left, asking questions about aromatic compounds and high-altitude species. We talked until security kicked us out. Our house in Burlington is this restored Victorian with exposed beams and original hardwood. The selling point for me was the attached greenhouse. Previous owner was a horticulture professor. Now it's filled with my specimens from field work. Stella converted the third bedroom into her sampling lab. On good days, the whole house smells like her latest creation mixed with my flowering vines. Fallon entered our orbit 8 months ago. She's 28, works as a rare book conservator at the university library. Stella met her at some interdisciplinary workshop on historical fragrance recipes. They hit it off immediately, both obsessed with preserving things, both detail-oriented to the point of compulsion. When Fallon's divorce started getting ugly, Stella invited her over for dinner. Then it became a weekly thing. Then twice a week. I liked Fallon at first. She was sharp, funny in that dry academic way. She'd examine my field notebooks like they were medieval manuscripts, asking about my documentation methods. Professional respect, I thought. She started joining our game nights, our Saturday farmers market runs. When I left for a 2-week research trip to Brazil in September, Stella texted that Fallon was keeping her company. The changes were subtle when I got back. Inside jokes I didn't understand. Stella suddenly interested in archival preservation techniques. They'd text during dinner, quick smiles at their phones. When I asked what was funny, it was always work stuff or you had to be there. Fallon started showing up when I was working late, always with some excuse about needing Stella's opinion on historical scent reconstruction. Last month, they went to a conference together in Boston. Stella came back talking about how brilliant Fallon's presentation was, how everyone was impressed by her knowledge of 18th century binding glues. The enthusiasm felt different. Brighter. The way Stella used to talk about my research before it became routine. Tonight, I couldn't sleep. 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling while Stella breathed evenly beside me. My mind kept circling back to dinner earlier, how they'd laughed when I mentioned I was planning another Brazil trip. Edward and his plants, Fallon had said. At least they don't talk back. Something in her tone. Something in how Stella's laugh lasted a beat too long. I reached for Stella's iPad on the nightstand, just wanting to use her meditation app. She'd downloaded it for my insomnia, but I kept forgetting my password. The screen lit up with a notification preview. Fallon, can't stop thinking about earlier. My stomach dropped. Not because I immediately assumed the worst, but because some part of me wasn't surprised. I touched the notification before I could think better of it. The Messages app opened, asking for Stella's passcode. Her birthday. Too easy. The thread loaded slowly, messages populating from bottom to top. Mundane stuff at first. Discussion about some manuscript restoration. Lunch plans. Then the tone shifted. 3 months back. Right after my Brazil trip. Miss you already. Last night was incredible. Can't wait until he travels again. I scrolled up, my hand steady despite the roaring in my ears. Then I saw it. A photo from 2 weeks ago, timestamped 11 p.m. when Stella was supposedly at an emergency with a corrupted fragrance formula. The image was slightly blurry, but clear enough. Them. Kissing. In what looked like the library stacks, surrounded by ancient books that were supposed to be protected, preserved, untouched. I sat in the darkness of our bedroom, the iPad's glow the only light. Stella shifted beside me, murmuring something in her sleep. I held perfectly still, scrolling through 6 months of messages with the methodical focus I use when documenting a new species. The affair started during my Brazil trip. September 15th, first kiss. They'd been working late on a fragrance inspired by old paper and leather bindings. The irony wasn't lost on me, creating something beautiful while destroying everything around them. Finally, Fallon had written that night. I've wanted this since the moment we met. Edward, sweet but clueless, Stella replied. He notices everything about his plants but nothing about people. I kept reading. Every message a specimen to catalog, classify, preserve. October 3rd, the greenhouse is perfect when he's at the university. All those vines make it so private. October 17th, told him I was at a supplier meeting. 3 hours of freedom. November 2nd, Wallace filed papers today. Once the divorce is final, we can stop hiding. Wallace. Fallon's supposedly ex-husband. Still technically married then. November 20th, Edward's planning another trip in January. 2 weeks in Colombia. We could tell him then. No, Stella had responded. We need to be smart about this. Then I found it. November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving. Fallon, feel guilty sometimes. He clearly loves you. Stella, love doesn't pay the mortgage. That house is worth $800K now. We'll keep him happy until we get it in the divorce. Vermont's equitable distribution means I get half of everything, maybe more if I can prove he abandoned me for his work. Fallon, you're terrible. I love it. Stella, you love me. The house is just a bonus. My hands weren't shaking. That's what surprised me most. I felt the same clarity that comes in the field when I spot a rare species, that moment of absolute focus where emotion becomes irrelevant and only documentation matters. I opened my laptop, created a new encrypted folder. Started screenshotting everything, making sure the metadata was preserved. Times, dates, locations. The scientist in me took over. This wasn't about rage. This was about evidence. I found more photos. Them in the rare manuscripts room after hours. Kissing between shelves of books worth more than my annual salary. Fallon had access codes, security clearance. They'd been using restricted areas like their personal hotel. I kept digging. Stella's email was logged in. Work correspondence with Fallon, sent during business hours. Can't concentrate after last night. Your perfume is still on my clothes. Using company resources, university networks. Both their employers had strict policies about this. 4:47 a.m. I'd been reading for nearly 2 hours. I had everything backed up to 3 different cloud services, organized by date and violation type. Personal betrayal. Professional misconduct. Potential criminal activity if they'd been in restricted areas without proper authorization. I found Fallon's husband on social media. Wallace Brennan, investment analyst at a Burlington firm. His last post was about new beginnings and focusing on personal growth. Poor bastard had no idea his wife was still active. The separation agreement probably had clauses about infidelity. Vermont's one of the few states where it still matters in divorce proceedings. I crept downstairs to my study, printed select screenshots. Physical backup. The printer hummed quietly, spitting out evidence page by page. I labeled everything with the precision I use for specimen samples. Date collected. Source. Chain of custody. Then I found something else. Stella's browser history. She'd been researching Vermont divorce law, looking up precedents for abandoned spouse claims. She'd bookmarked articles about maximizing assets in divorce and establishing grounds for favorable settlement. Dating back to early October. This wasn't passion. This was premeditated. I heard movement upstairs. Stella getting up for her morning run. 5:30 a.m., like clockwork. I closed everything, cleared the history, slipped back into bed before she came looking for her iPad. You're up early, she said, grabbing her running clothes. Couldn't sleep. That Brazil proposal is due soon. She kissed my forehead. The same lips from those photos. My dedicated scientist. Try to get some rest. As she left for her run, I heard her phone buzz. Text from Fallon, security guard asking questions about Friday night. Says the cameras caught something weird in the restricted section. I became a ghost in my own life. Present but invisible, watching everything while revealing nothing. 2 weeks of this performance, and neither of them suspected. I've learned from studying apex predators in the field, the successful hunter doesn't chase. He waits. The camera installation was simple. Vermont law allows recording in your own vehicle without consent. I picked a tiny one, motion activated, tucked behind the rear view mirror. Within 3 days, I had footage of them using my car during lunch breaks. Stella's client meeting on Tuesday was 40 minutes of them in the parking garage. The audio was particularly damning, discussing how Wallace's separation agreement had a fidelity clause worth $60,000. I started documenting their patterns like migration data. Fridays were their main nights. Stella would claim overtime at the fragrance house. Fallon logged it as inventory and restoration. They'd meet at the library after 9, when only security and maintenance had access. The rare manuscripts room, climate-controlled and private, 12 floors up where no one went after hours. Thursday afternoon, I visited the university. Told the department secretary I was interested in their botanical manuscript collection for my research. She directed me to the library, suggested I speak with their rare book conservator. But Fallon's out sick today, she added. Strange, she's never sick on Thursdays. The security desk was staffed by Ruben, mid-50s, former military. The kind of guy who noticed everything and said little. I signed in as a researcher, made small talk about plant illustrations in medieval texts. Mentioned I was writing a paper on indigenous botanical knowledge preservation. You should see our restricted collection, Ruben said. Beautiful stuff. Course, you'd need special permission. Only staff allowed after hours, and even then, we log everything. Must be quiet at night, I said casually. You'd think. But we get researchers working late. That book conservator, Fallon? She's here every Friday doing inventory. He paused, something shifting in his expression. Dedicated to her work. I spent 3 hours in the public reading room, legitimately researching. Built my cover story. Asked intelligent questions. Established myself as a serious scholar. When I left, I stopped by Ruben's desk again. Hey, if I wanted to cite some of those manuscripts in my paper, would there be security footage? For authentication purposes? My publisher's strict about provenance. Ruben's eyes sharpened. Footage gets archived for 90 days. Every entrance, every exit. Timestamps on all of it. That's thorough. Has to be. Some of those books are worth more than houses. Can't be too careful. He looked at me directly. Especially with after-hours access. People think they're alone up there, but the cameras see everything. I thanked him and left, but not before he handed me his card. In case you have more questions about manuscript authentication. That evening, I increased my performance as the devoted husband. Brought Stella flowers, purple freesias from the farmer's market, her favorite. Cooked dinner, asked about her day, listened to her complain about a difficult client who kept changing their mind about base notes. When Fallon texted, I didn't react to the smile that crossed Stella's face. Fallon's wondering if we want to do dinner tomorrow, Stella said. Can't, I have that department meeting. But you two should go. You've been stressed, you deserve a night out. She kissed me, grateful. You're too good to me. Friday came. I stayed late at the university, ostensibly for my meeting. Instead, I parked where I could see the library entrance. Watched Stella arrive at 8:45 in her Audi. Fallon buzzed her in. They thought they were clever, entering separately. I waited until 9:30, then walked to the security desk. Different guard, younger, scrolling his phone. But Ruben appeared from the back office. Dr. Lawson. Working late? Thought I'd check those medieval texts we discussed. But I should probably wait until Monday, go through proper channels. Ruben glanced at his computer screen, then back at me. Funny thing about those Friday nights. Our conservator's real thorough with her inventory. Same section every week. 12th floor, restricted collection, climate-controlled room. He turned his monitor slightly. Security footage, split screen. 2 figures entering the manuscript room. Timestamp from an hour ago. That room requires special clearance, he continued. And any materials removed need documentation. But between you and me, I don't think she's cataloging books up there. I spent the weekend assembling my packages with the same care I'd use preparing specimens for publication. 3 manila envelopes, each one a perfectly targeted dose of truth. Package 1, Wallace Brennan. His investment firm's address was easy to find. Inside, screenshots of his still married wife's activities, dated and verified. The fidelity clause in their separation agreement would shift significantly in his favor. I included a brief note, your wife is still married to you. She should honor that while it lasts. Package 2, University Dean Patricia Morse and HR Director Anthony Huang. Comprehensive documentation of security violations, misuse of restricted areas, breach of collections access protocol. 63 instances of after-hours entry to climate-controlled rooms without proper documentation. Screenshots of messages discussing using the manuscript room for personal activities. Ruben had been more helpful than he knew. I'd gone back Saturday morning as a researcher and he'd shown me how the logging system worked, even printed out access records for academic purposes. Package 3, Jerome Beaumont, owner of Essence Botanique, Stella's Fragrance House. Email screenshots showing messages sent during work hours, using company resources for personal affairs. More importantly, I included evidence that Stella had been sharing proprietary formulas with Fallon. You'd love this accord, reminds me of your skin, attached with actual compound breakdowns. Industrial espionage might be a strong term, but Beaumont was notoriously protective of his formulations. Sunday night, I added one more element. An anonymous tip to Berkshire Insurance Group, who held the university's rare manuscript policy. Just a concerned citizen noting unusual after-hours access patterns to restricted collections. They'd investigate. They always did when 7 figures of coverage were involved. Monday morning arrived gray and cold, November sleet hitting the windows. Stella complained about the weather while making coffee, said something about maybe working from home. I convinced her the roads would clear by noon, that her lab at Essence was better equipped than our home setup. You're right, she said, gathering her samples. Besides, I'm launching that new winter line this week. Big week for both of us then. I'm filing all that Brazil paperwork today. She kissed me goodbye at 7:45. I waited until her car turned the corner, then prepared my final move. The house papers were in my filing cabinet: deed, insurance, tax documents. Vermont law is interesting. Property owned before marriage remains separate if you can prove it never became marital asset. The house had been mine, inherited from my grandmother 2 months before Stella and I married. I'd never added her name, just let her assume joint ownership. She signed papers without reading, always had. I trust you with the boring stuff, she'd say. I prepared a quitclaim deed, transferring the property from Edward Lawson to Edward James Lawson Trust, a trust I'd established Friday afternoon. Buried it between routine documents: insurance renewal, property tax payment authorization, utility easement update. All requiring signatures. When Stella came home for lunch to grab forgotten notes, I was ready. Honey, while you're here, can you sign these? Just annual house stuff. Insurance wants them by end of day. She signed while scrolling her phone, distracted by a text from Fallon. Perfect witness to her own dispossession. Thanks, I said, notarizing her signature with my own seal. How's the launch prep? Stressful. But Fallon's helping me stay calm. She smiled at her phone again. At 2 p.m., I drove to the post office. Certified mail, return receipt requested. All 3 packages would arrive Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Professional timing, start of business, maximum impact, no time to prepare deflection. I added tracking notifications to my phone. Watched them move through the system. Burlington to White River Junction. White River to Burlington Distribution. Out for delivery. That evening, I made Stella's favorite dinner. Mushroom risotto, good wine, candlelight. Played the devoted husband one last time. She was radiant, excited about something she wouldn't specify. Fallon and I have been working on something special, she said over dessert. A surprise. You'll love it. Can't wait, I said, refilling her wine. My phone buzzed at 11 p.m. 3 notifications. All packages delivered successfully, signed for at their destinations. I deleted the alerts, cleared my browser history, went to bed. At 3 a.m., my phone lit up with a text from Stella's assistant at Essence. Mr. Beaumont wants to see Stella first thing. Says it's urgent. I let it sit unread, turned off my phone, and went back to sleep. Tuesday morning came in like artillery fire. 7:23 a.m., Stella's phone exploded with calls while she was in the shower. Jerome Beaumont's name flashing repeatedly. She came out dripping, grabbed it on the 5th ring. Jerome? What's? Her face drained of color. That's impossible. Who would? No, I'm coming in now. She threw on clothes without speaking, hands trembling as she mistied perfume. Everything okay? I asked from bed, feigning grogginess. Work emergency. Someone sent Jerome. Something. About me. I have to go. 8:15 a.m., my phone rang. Wallace Brennan. I let it go to voicemail, listen later. I don't know who you are, but thank you. My lawyer says this changes everything. That cheating B word won't see a penny now. 8:47 a.m., Stella texted, Jerome has screenshots of my emails with Fallon. All of them. Someone's trying to destroy me. 9:02 a.m., the university's main number called my cell. Then called again. 3rd time, I answered. Dr. Lawson? This is Patricia Morse, Dean of Library Sciences. I understand you've been researching in our collections recently? Yes, medieval botanical manuscripts. Is there a problem? We're investigating some irregularities with our rare book conservator. Security mentioned you'd made inquiries about access protocols. Would you be available to answer some questions? Of course. Though I'm not sure how I could help. Just routine. We're talking to everyone who's used the collections recently. 9:34 a.m. Fallon's number appeared on my screen. I watched it ring out. She called back immediately. Then texted, "Edward, urgent. Please call me. Something's happened." 10:15 a.m. Stella came home, mascara streaked despite her waterproof formula. "I need to talk to you." I put down my coffee, concerned husband mask firmly in place. "What happened?" "Someone sent Jerome private emails between me and Fallon. Personal things. And formulas I shared with her. He thinks I was stealing trade secrets." She collapsed on the couch. "He gave me a choice. Resign quietly or he'll prosecute." "Prosecute? For what?" "Industrial espionage. Breach of contract. The formulas I sent her. They were proprietary. I just wanted to share my work with someone who understood." My phone buzzed. Fallon again. Stella's went off simultaneously. She read it, face crumbling further. The university suspended her. They found out she's been using her access codes after hours. In the restricted areas. The insurance company's investigating. Jesus. Who would do this? I don't know. She was sobbing now, the ugly kind that destroys carefully applied makeup. Someone who hates us. Someone who, she stopped. "You were at the university Friday night. For my department meeting. You know that. But you left late. You could have what? Broken into the library? Hacked your email?" I let hurt creep into my voice. "You think I did this?" Before she could answer, her phone rang. "Wallace." She answered on speaker without thinking. "Fallon's phone is off. Is this the girlfriend? The one who's been sleeping my wife while I paid for her lawyer?" His laugh was sharp. "Thanks to your little affair, I keep everything. The house, the investments, all of it. Hope she was worth it." He hung up. Stella stared at the phone like it might explode. "He knows," she whispered. "Everyone knows." By noon, the university had launched a formal investigation. By 2 p.m., Fallon was terminated for gross misconduct. The insurance company found enough irregularities to consider criminal charges. Turns out some rare manuscripts had minor damage, oils from skin, small tears. Nothing missing, but enough to suggest improper handling. Stella spent the afternoon on the phone with lawyers. I heard fragments through my office door. Defamation. Invasion of privacy. Find who did this. At 4 p.m., she came to my office, calm now. Dangerous calm. "I need to know something," she said. "Did you do this?" I looked up from my research notes, meeting her eyes directly. "I don't even know what this is. Someone sent emails? How would I even get those?" She studied my face for a long moment, then turned away. "I'm going to pack some things. Stay with my sister for a few days." "Stella, I just need space to think." As she headed upstairs, I heard her mutter, "Where did I put those tax documents from lunch yesterday?" She froze halfway up the stairs, remembering. Then slowly turned back to look at me. "The papers I signed yesterday," Stella said slowly, descending each step like she was walking through water. "Those weren't tax documents." I set down my pen, leaned back in my chair. "Insurance renewal. Property easement. You were busy texting Fallon, remember?" She reached my office door, gripping the frame. "Show me the papers." I pulled them from my filing cabinet, handed them over. Watched her flip through until she found it. The quitclaim deed. Her signature clear as day, notarized and dated. "You transferred the house." Her voice was flat. "I signed away my rights to the house." "You never had rights to it. It was mine before we married. Inherited from my grandmother. You just assumed it became ours." The silence stretched between us like a specimen under glass. Finally, she laughed, sharp and bitter. "You knew. This whole time, you knew." I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshot I'd saved. The one I'd printed for myself. Handed it to her. "We'll keep him happy until we get the house," I quoted. November 25th. The day before Thanksgiving. "You were planning to take everything while I was in Colombia." She read it twice, then dropped the phone on my desk. "How long have you known?" 3 weeks. Found the messages when I couldn't sleep. You were using your meditation app to help me with insomnia while planning to rob me blind. It wasn't like that. The browser history suggests otherwise. Vermont divorce law. Abandoned spouse claims. Asset maximization strategies. I pulled out the printed pages. You did research. Made plans. Fallon was helping you establish grounds. Stella sank into the chair across from me. The same chair where she used to sit while I explained my research, back when she still pretended to care. So you destroyed our lives. I revealed the truth. You destroyed your own lives when you chose to betray not just me, but your employers, Fallon's husband, the university's trust. I straightened the papers on my desk. Every action I took was legal. Every piece of evidence legitimately obtained. You did this to yourselves. Fallon's facing criminal charges. They think she damaged manuscripts worth hundreds of thousands. She did damage them. Oils from skin, micro tears from improper handling. You don't F-word in a climate-controlled room with priceless books and expect no consequences. Stella's phone buzzed. Jerome again. She declined the call. He's going to blacklist me, she said quietly. Every fragrance house in New England will know by tomorrow. Actions have consequences. You cold bastard. Did you ever love me? I loved who I thought you were. But that person was another one of your compositions, beautiful on the surface, synthetic underneath. She stood, moved toward the door, then turned back. What happens now? Divorce papers are already filed. At fault, adultery and breach of trust. Your messages are evidence. Wallace will testify about Fallon's marriage status. The university will confirm the misconduct. You'll get the minimum the court allows. Where am I supposed to go? Your sister's, like you planned. Or Fallon's, though I doubt Wallace left her the apartment. Or back to Ohio. I honestly don't care. 3 days later, she was gone. Took her clothes, her perfume lab, nothing else. The divorce proceeded quickly, her lawyer advised against fighting once they saw the evidence. Clean break, no alimony, no claims on the house or my research. Fallon got 12 months probation, massive fines, and a permanent ban from working with rare collections. The damaged manuscripts required specialized restoration costing more than her annual salary. Wallace took everything in their divorce, down to her grandmother's china. Stella moved to Ohio, living with her parents while she looked for work. Last I heard through mutual friends, she was mixing fragrances at a shopping mall, doing personalized blends for tourists. 3 months after the papers were signed, I was in Colombia's cloud forests, documenting a new species of medicinal orchid. The field station director mentioned they needed someone to establish an ethnobotany program. Full-time position, good research budget, housing included. That night, I built a fire outside the station, watching stars through the canopy. Pulled out the last photo I had of Stella, our wedding day, both of us laughing in my grandmother's garden. I dropped it in the flames, watched her face curl and blacken. My phone buzzed. Message from Ruben, new librarian started today. Sweet woman, actually cares about the books. Mentioned she's interested in botanical manuscripts. Thought you should know. I deleted the message, added another log to the fire. The orchids glowed pale in the darkness, and for the first time in months, I breathed freely. The smoke rose through the trees, carrying away the last traces of my old life. I was finally free. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.